Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear viewers, Assalamu alaikum. I am your host Faisal Raza and you are watching Foresight. Viewers, after January 16, 2024, unfortunate episodes, Pakistan-Iran bilateral relations took a fresh and vibrant start. On February 23, 2024, government in principally approved the construction of Iran-Pakistan gas pipeline after a pause of at least a decade. A pipeline that was conceived in 90s and subsequently got different agreements till 2010, and it was all set to have construction till 2013. But unfortunately, it was having delay because of the US sanctions on Iran. Pakistan has decided to construct the pipeline, and its first phase is going to start. That would be from Pak-Iran border to Gwadar. It would be 80-kilometer long pipeline, and with a cost of at least 158 million US dollars, or you can say 45 billion Pakistani rupees. Iran also generously extended its deadline, which was March, and now it is extended to at least 180 days till September 2024. After the due construction of this pipeline, Pakistan will get 750 million cubic feet of gas, and it would also be extended to at least 1 billion cubic feet of gas for at least consecutive 25 years. As Pakistan's local gas resources are decreasing and Pakistan is relying upon imported gas from different countries, it is going to be a sigh of relief if Pakistan get Iranian gas for at least 25 years. There are lots of questions hanging upon, and we will get answers of these questions. For these answers, we have in our studios Raziuddin. He is the hydrocarbon expert and ex-managing director, Oil and Gas Development Corporation Limited. Along with that, he was also ex-CEO of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa Oil and Gas Company Limited. Most welcome to you, Razi. Thank you very much for your arrival, and thank you very much for being here in the studios. And also we have joining us Dr. Hasnain Javed. He is the senior economist. He is joining us online. Most welcome to you, Dr. Hasnain. So my first question to you, Razi Sahab, that how do you analyze the recent government's decision to go ahead with the Iran-Pakistan gas pipeline construction project with plans to complete it in at least 1 year? So how do you analyze it?
I think it's a very positive step taken by the government of Pakistan, and we hope that the 80-kilometer pipeline will be completed within 180 days. There are no such technical issues as far as the right of way is concerned. Pakistan has the expertise. Pakistan has built 1,000-kilometer long lines, so it's not going to be a big technical challenge for Pakistan. Of course, there was a diplomatic challenge which Pakistan has resolved. That's why they have taken this step. And with this, the life in Gwadar will quadruple as far as the industries is concerned, as far as the growth of Gwadar is concerned, and growth of Gwadar means multiple growth in Pakistan. So with that, Gwadar will flourish and Pakistan will enjoy a lot of good benefits out of this gas that's going to come from Iran.
So do you think that the decade-long pause is with this whole decision is now ended, and with this renewed momentum, Pakistan is going to complete the gas pipeline, and not only Gwadar but also the rest of the areas will get the gas as well, and the industry, particularly when we are envisaging some sort of economic zones in Gwadar and rest of the country. Do you think that this will take a real turn?
Yes, definitely. In Gwadar, this will germinate a lot of industries which were otherwise waiting for energy. With this, we will have desalination plants, power plants, fertilizer plants, and so many other things that will happen in Gwadar. And of course, this after 800, it will carry to another 700 kilometers within Pakistan. When that comes, then definitely we will be benefiting much more. And when it goes from 700 million cubic feet per day to a billion cubic feet per day, that's going to be a tremendous amount of energy available in Pakistan. That will increase our GDP, that will increase our job opportunities, new kind of industries will come over. And Iranian gas is much richer than our sweet gas. So it has a lot of ethane, so that will also help us develop a lot of petrochemical industry which we don't have. At present, we have methane, our sweet gas, and all these are methanes.
Obviously.
So we are not able to develop that kind of petrochemical plants. The Iranian gas will bring us a new paradigm change in our industrial revolution.
So when we are talking about, or the government already decided to utilize the gas infrastructure development cess, so do you think it is going to be available and board is going to give the approval for that, and the construction will be without any hiccups?
Yes, because GIDC, this development cess, is actually made for gas infrastructure, primarily for Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Iran-Pakistan. So Iran-Pakistan is the first phase. There has been a lot of discussion in the Supreme Court and all that. Those things are all behind us now.
Okay, okay. So your point well taken. Dr. Hasnain, when we are talking about Pakistan, Iran-Pakistan gas pipeline project, do you think that the project implementation by utilizing GIDC funds rests with the high-powered project board, and whether that will going to give the go ahead and the construction will start soon? Do you think so?
Thank you very much, Faisal, for the excellent preamble. You have given all the statistical number, including 7.5 billion and 100 and 700 mile project, and all it is coming from the South Par gas field through the Balochistan in the western Pakistan into India. So the preamble was very good. So one of the most important thing is you are talking about the funds and the authorization. It's been delayed. Almost a decade. So that's the first problem. It's been occurred, and now this is the point where you ask this. That is that still on the process. I just wanted to quote a very rare history. Most of the people doesn't know that the Iran-Pakistan gas pipeline is also known as the peace pipeline, has been under discussion since 1994, and the idea for the pipeline was first proposed in the scientific article published in the late 1950s by the Military College of Engineering in Pakistan. So unfortunately, I have to say that this is also not by the Civilian Academy or anything. It is also given by the Military College. So this is just on the lighter note, you can say that. But from the project financials, in 2013, the project was estimated cost 7.5 billion. Now the pre-feasibility, feasibility cost has been changed. Of course, it's been changed. In 2023, Pakistan Public Account Committee expressed concern that the country would have to pay 18 billion penalty if it fails to complete the portion of the pipeline project by March 2024. So what are the project hurdles? You know, that being said, there are the several issues such as US-Iran tensions and so on and so forth. I just don't want to go into that area, but India itself backed out for this deal in 2018. That is nothing to do with it now, but let hope so, because we are going to do that. As far as the civil concern area, or of course our respected panelists talking about that, if first phase completed with the back, of course, monitoring by the military, I am very positive. If it is just with the civilian monitoring system or their execution system, I have a doubt. But now moving on to the energy crisis in Pakistan, the direct economic cost of Pakistan emanating from the energy crisis amount annually to around 3 to 4% of the GDP. So the direct cost is mainly in the form of lost output, GDP. So however, the broader macroeconomic collateral costs as a substantial too, and include a deadline in the employment level, lower income, lower government revenue, and deadline in export order, drastically lower fixed investment level, and greater fragility of the banking system. Wherever in the addition, the present energy shortfall has burdened public finance through the provision of the heavy subsidies via the budget. So amounting cumulative in the 5 years to approximately 1.289 billion.
You have rightly mentioned that there would be a penalty of at least $18 billion by the Iranians. Otherwise, they have to go to the arbitration court. So do you think that this go ahead on the construction of the pipeline is just because of that penalty, or Iranian thinking of going to the arbitration court, or we are sincerely now going towards this construction to have gas in Pakistani pipes so that we'll get through the industrial and other necessities, at least for the trade and resultantly for the economic prosperity?
For that reason, I really appreciate the Asif Ali Zardari who was taken this idea. Now, this is very much up to our bureaucracy, but not just the bureaucracy. Who are the technocrats for that reason? Wow, you have 180 days, right? Am I right? If I'm not wrong,
Yeah, definitely,
you have
definitely.
complete
180 days.
180 days, and you have a penalty amount for the 18 billion dollar, right? Now, my problem is that how can we execute? Do we have the pre-feasibility feasibility report? Now we have to execute in the 180 days. Is there any timeline? So I need to question all those concerned departments. Please guide us. Is there any timeline project? So because project has a certain start and certain end. If there is a no certain start and certain end, how can we complete the project? And project is nullified when there is no certain start and no certain end. So here we need utmost it is very much important because energy security, the pipeline is essential for Pakistan energy security and meet its growing energy need.
Definitely, you
That
are
is
absolutely
everybody
right.
knows.
Energy security
But
is absolutely
my point is,
very much
if the
necessary and
GDA
vital for Pakistan. When we are talking about Razi sahab, Pakistan's secure energy needs and contribution towards industrial growth, at least this 25 years gas supply from Iran and slightly cheaper than the international rates and but slightly higher than the cost what we have in our local production. So do you think that it is going to supplement Pakistan's growth?
Yes, definitely, because if suppose somebody wants to put up a fertilizer plant, they want supply of gas guaranteed, consistent supply in writing. So this the government will be able to give for the petrochemical, fertilizer and power plants consistent guaranteed supply. Now with that, the financial close will happen. The people will put, the banks will put money and the investors will put money. Because this is one of the requirements, where is the gas? If suppose in Pakistan somebody wants to put a fertilizer, where is the gas? So the gas is coming from there. I just want to add this thing as far as energy security is concerned, what Dr. Saab said, that we also have to endeavor and produce our own gas and our own oil.
Yes.
Because today we are producing 3,000 million cubic feet of gas. We went up to 4,400 million cubic feet of gas per day. And then we dropped to 3,000. We can go back to 5,000 very quickly. But that's what unless we drill holes, unless we drill wells, we would not be able to get gas.
But
so what
is ultimately the success ratio of exploration? Because if we dig at least 10 wells, so you are getting at least 6 to 7 which are going away, and only 1 to 2 wells which are going to be successful. Is it
well, in Pakistan, we used to have 1:10 way back when, about 20 years ago, but now it's down to 1:4 all over Pakistan.
Okay.
In KP, it's 1:2.
Okay.
In FATA, it's 1:1.
And you have ample resources there.
Pakistan has
Sindh
tremendous amount of reserves of gas all over the country, in Balochistan, in Sindh, and KP. And that's what I said. Then we can go from our own selves. We can
but when we go into the different studies and reports, these studies finds that Pakistan natural gas reserves went down at least by 6% over the years. And what would be the ultimate way out? Because whether to explore more local options like offshore drilling as well, and as it is also costly a business, that or tapping foreign resources like IP gas pipeline or TAPI.
Well, Pakistan is a population today is about 240 million. In next 20 years, we're going to be almost 400 million. To feed 400 million with jobs, with heating and power and so on, so we not only need our own indigenous production to go from 3,000 to 5,000 and maybe 6,000, but also we need Turkmenistan gas and IP, not one IP, two IPs. Because a population is not going to live in poverty all its life with load sheddings and things like that. We have to come to energy per capita of at least Egypt and Turkey. Without these mechanisms of indigenous first, and of course IP and Turkmenistan, we would not be able to sustain our economy. So that's the reason we have to push for IP as well, and TAPI as well, and definitely our own indigenous. And of course, our offshore is not going to be that expensive compared to what we import, because it's our gas.
So whether we are doing something on offshore as well?
Well, not really. Unfortunately, we need to push for it. And it has been long overdue that we have not advertised for international competitive bidding for offshore. We need to do that, and we need to, especially our companies, public sector companies, have to endeavor and go ahead with the exploration in offshore. But also onshore is equally important, because we have done a number of studies where we show tremendous amount of reserves when it comes to conventional gas, as well as shale gas, as well as tight gas. Like SWE, just give you a barometer, SWE is 11 trillion cubic feet, and shale gas is 550. So shale is 55 SWEs are waiting for us, inviting us to come and have the pudding, but we are not moving towards the shale gas.
So what's the reason why we are not moving?
Well, some reluctance on the economics point of view, because I think we need to correct our economic formulas, the way we do the economics. The economics has to be done that it's PKR.
So it means that for economic formulas we have Dr. Hasnain.
Yes.
So Dr. Hasnain, when as Razi Sahab is saying that there is not much heed upon particularly gas exploration overall, as we have the statistics that Pakistan natural gas consumption increased from 890 billion cubic feet in 2003 to around more than 17 billion cubic feet now. So it is growing at an average of 3.46%. So how do you see that? Because as our average is growing, the consumption average, so why we are not producing much?
So I would really appreciate Razi Saab for his excellent articulation. So he put all these unfortunate reasons in a very better way. So very diplomatic answers. But let me tell you, the only reason is the bureaucratic hurdles. And we have wasted most of the gas and most of the things and most of the feasibility and pre-feasibility and the run of the offshore and onshore. It has been just because of the bureaucratic hurdles and intervention. For that reason, I would request SIFC to take up this project. Now, phase 1, approval 1. Iran has extended this project deadline by 180 days until September 2024. Am I right? So as to avoid the legal dispute with Pakistan and at international tribunal. So the Cabinet Committee on the Energy has approved the initiation of work of Iran-Pakistan gas pipeline and project, deferred the filling of application for the waiver of the US sanction on the project due to the geopolitical situation. So the first phase include the construction of the pipeline from the Pakistan-Iran border up till Gwadar. So the project will execute by the State Gas System, PVT Ltd, and will fund it through Gas Infrastructure Development Gas GIDC, as our Razi Sahab, respected Razi Sahab mentioned. Now, the very important thing and very important part, who is going to finance it? Let's see if there is a feasibility or feasibility. I yet not received any of the feasibility or pre-feasibility report. First, we need to understand what sort of the feasibility report comes in our way. Now,
yeah, definitely. This is very important point, Dr. Hasnain. Let's explore this point from Razi Sahab. Razi Sahab, as Dr. Hasnain said, that there must have to be a feasibility report at least if we are seeking GIDC funds. So what you say on that? Do you have any update on that?
You see, the right of way is already decided way back when.
Okay.
The sizing is decided. Now that the decision has been made, if the project is given to the two Swiss companies, public sector companies, you don't need any tender and all that, and everything is there. They just built a pipeline 243 kilometer from Shiva to Darya Khan.
Okay.
So everything is there. And the Swiss companies are tremendously skillful when it comes to the pipelines.
Okay.
And they can build this 80 kilometer pipeline within 100 days. And they have the equipment, and it's mostly going to be in Pakistani rupees. We don't have to go and fish for a lot many dollars. Yes, some dollars are required to bring in the steel sheets. We can make the pipes here. It's all the contractors are local. Everything is going to be local. The consultants are local. Sui Gas built this 243 kilometer line.
And we have all the expertise available.
Yes, we have all the designing. We can do load flow. We can do construction, project management, all. If we can build a 243 pipeline, kilometer pipeline, definitely 80 is a piece of cake.
But the funds surety is also must.
Yes, yes, the funds are there. The funds are there. It's 80 kilometers is not going to be that costly.
Okay.
And
okay.
GIDC
When we
can
are
provide
talking
the
about
funds.
Razi, Pakistan natural gas overall resources and the energy mix which is going on, at least 30% of the natural gas is the part of overall when we are talking about the energy mix.
Yes.
Now the production is at least 4 billion cubic feet, and then we have demand from 6 to 8 billion cubic feet. How this gap is going to be bridged? As we have already discussed the offshore drilling and onshore drilling as well. So whether IP gas pipeline is going to bridge that gap, and we must have to think about that it is just for 25 years. We have to think more on that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, like our constrained demand, which is metered demand, which unmetered we don't know. But the metered demand is about 5,000 million cubic feet per day. We are producing 3,000, and 1,000 is coming through LNG from Qatar. And we still have this gap where we are load shedding at the fertilizer. So we are low, almost we are producing 1 million tons less than our, so we are importing that. So with this pipeline coming in and with this gas coming in, there will be some relief. And we will be moving a notch forward towards, but that's not the end. We need to increase it to 1 billion, and we need to increase our indigenous production to about 5,000 million cubic per day on like a yesterday. And if we do that, we'll just come to the comfort zone. And then, of course, to progress, we have to increase our local production to 6,000. We will still need, because of this massive population we have and jobs and industrialization that will come, we definitely need the Iran pipeline.
Definitely. Thank you very much, Raziuddin Sahab, for your presence here in the studios. Thank you very much for that. And you elaborated each and everything very well. Thank you very much for your candid views. Thank you very much. Dr. Hasnain, when we are talking about Pakistan's overall energy needs, it is important that at least the natural gas resources must have to be enhanced, because right now these resources have the contribution at least 40% in the power generation, and rest of the gas is going towards industry and the local consumer. So how do you envisage overall picture of the natural gas necessity to Pakistan?
Specific to the natural gas consumption. So Pakistan largely energy source is natural gas, with the demand and import growing rapidly. Currently, natural gas supplies meet 49% of the Pakistan energy need. According to an oil and gas journal, as of the 1st January 2005, Pakistan had 26.9 trillion cubic feet of what we call it in technical language, or I would say jargon, is TSF, of the proven natural gas reserves. So Pakistan is looking to increase its gas production to support increasing consumption through pipeline from Iran and Turkmenistan. And after Brazil and Argentina, Pakistan ranked 3rd in the world for the use of the natural gas as a motor fuel. In addition, Pakistan hoped to make gas the fuel of choice for the future electric power generation project, and Pakistan ambitiously seeking to increase oil production through new alliance within the foreign companies. So as he mentioned, of course, Swiss companies are going into coming to Pakistan for funding this project. So Pakistan net oil imports are projected to rise sustainably in coming years as demand growth outpace increase in production. So now coming to the feasibility challenges. So feasibility of the Iran-Pakistan gas pipeline project hinges on the Iran ability to address its domestic natural gas shortages and lifting of the international sanctions. And Iran faces domestic natural gas shortage impacting its energy export and oil production. The resilience on the gas export despite sanctity and rising local demand poses economic challenges and threatens internal energy security, and resolving Iran energy crisis and easing international sanctions are essential for the pipeline feasibility completion. So reducing gas output poses a danger to Iran oil production, which is harmed by lower investment and technological constraint. So there is a technological constraint as well. So here we need international, of course, Swiss company or international company who is very much into this, and they must be very much expert in that area. But of course, fund plus technical expertise. Neither Iran is of that much in the technical side, neither Pakistan of this technical side. So we need to have a fund for completion of this one, and timeline is very much short. So the first phase, after the first phase, I am very much hopeful. But of course, the Iran oil field fares ripple with the domestic sector sustained by the nation a heavy reliance on the gas export. So, but the most important thing is Pakistan energy mix. I'm not using the word energy mix. Pakistan using the high its electricity from the LPG, which is the highest in the cost, is the 56.7, and they are making the electricity with the diesel. So of course we need this gas for the agriculture purpose, for the industrial purpose, for the special economic zone, for the industrialization, to maximum industrialize the area, for and the industrial
Absolutely,
industrial
absolutely.
areas
Dr. Hasnain, you are
must has
absolutely
to
very
enhance
right.
everything.
Very, very elaborative, very elaborative. Viewers, here we introduce our next guest also, Mr. Usman Chohan, Dr. Usman Chohan. He is the senior economist, and he is once again here in our studios. Thank you very much, Dr. Usman, for being here. And as Dr. Hasnain is saying, that Iran-Pakistan gas pipeline, once again, a very important project, haunting actually from the last 10 years. And what was the reason why a decade-long pause? And Pakistan, if we have to start this project, do you see any sort of a Western guarantees to Pakistan, or some sort of a waiver to Pakistan, as Pakistan has kick-started the first phase of the IP gas pipeline?
Yes, sir. You've hit the nail on the head by pointing to the Western sanctions. That is the overall cloud cover, which has prevented progress on this for more than a decade. Now, Pakistan is going to seek a waiver. The sanctions intensity has been immense over Iran, and given the current geopolitical climate with conflicts erupting all over the world, the intensity is only likely to remain high. So to persuade the enemies of Iran to give a waiver is not an easy task. But now we have a difficult choice in Pakistan between our indigenous energy requirements and the overall economic architecture. Iran helps with one and America helps with the other. So Pakistan has always wanted reconciliation between the Islamic Republic of Iran and the United States for a reason, because Pakistan wants to have good relations with both. And we are suffering now from the depletion of our indigenous gas reserves, as has been talked about previously. We require gas for our industry and our agriculture and our domestic use. And to be very honest, we have not been very prudent in our use of gas in terms of our domestic energy mix. There was a time, if you recall, 20 years ago, that people would simply let the gas running because there was so much around. So
yeah, definitely, it was. It was. These are the same habits. And when we are talking about that, we are using gas most of the times for the domestic consumer, particularly for heating purpose. So why we are not developing some sort of alternatives for that? Why not we change the construction patterns, or we have more insulations or something like that, so that we can prevent our homes and use the sunlight rather than to be the gas for heating purpose? So why we are not changing our habits?
Excellent point. Excellent point, because gas is just a stopgap for keeping us warm, where in fact there are structural elements, including building designs, including insulation. The way we live, the way we build our houses is a much deeper problem with multi-generational impacts. And the adoption of solar has been quite robust over the last decade in Pakistan, and that's because the international cost curve for solar panel and other photovoltaic technologies is declining exponentially. So it's a very positive sign. But even then, regulations and other factors impeding wider adoption in Pakistan exist. So I, for example, am a strong believer that since the early stage materials of solar and photovoltaic technology can be sourced here and can be built here, we have to work towards local development of these things, and it's a very easy area for public-private partnership to exist. And we are a sunny country in terms of the sunlight, the number of days and the intensity we get for most of Pakistan. I think it's a very natural way to do that for many energy usages, except for the most intensive ones, which are industrial and agricultural.
Okay. Your point well taken, Dr. Usman. When we are talking about the the gas consumption. No doubt about it that we have to change our habits as a nation when we are consuming gas. Along with that, otherwise, government has to give some sort of an alternative on that. But what about the Pakistani consumers' hardships and the industrialists' hardships and the people who are working over there? Whether West realizing that, and especially the US, as Pakistan is going to get some sort of a relaxation or a waiver from the US, particularly on the Iranian sanctions related to the Iran-Pakistan gas pipeline, because it is important. And just yesterday, the State Department has a briefing, and during that briefing, there was a question asked on Iran-Pakistan gas pipeline, but the answer was in between the lines. So how do you see it, whether there is some relaxation in future or that relaxation is given already?
A very profound point you have made, because the consumer here has been struggling, and it's not just about the generation of electricity but also because of the transmission, getting things onto the grid. That's why solar, for example, has strong advantages, because it is on site. And similarly, local dams, small scale dams, micro dams have a huge advantage because they're on site. So the energy mix factors do help when they're localized rather than have a long chain. A long chain in this case with gas means you start in another country, either LNG or a pipe coming across, which has its own disruptive risks. Now, the industrialists in Pakistan have suffered a lot since 2022, and they have articulated the case for having more robust energy supplies that are cheaper so that they are cost competitive, because on the input side, it becomes too expensive for them to then be able to compete on world markets against competitors whose energy is subsidized or virtually free, for example, in China or in other countries. So energy being a big factor in their input costs makes it very hard for them to be competitive. And then your other deep, profound observation was that does the West, particularly the United States, care about the energy disruptions and the pain that consumers feel in other countries? And the truth is they don't. And you don't just see the reflection of that in Asia, but you've seen that in Europe with the Nord Stream and all that.
Yeah, definitely.
They would be happy to see the consumers in Europe go to hell in a handbasket as long as geopolitical interests of theirs are temporarily served, because they also perhaps haven't thought through the end game on what they want for the protection of
and
Europe.
It is really unfortunate on the part of Western powers particularly, and in particular United States. Your point well elaborated. Dr. Hasnain, when we are talking about the US waiver, Pakistan has tried its best to have that waiver, or we have not yet applied for even that waiver, and that is there with Iraq and Turkey. Both countries are using that waiver when it comes to the Iranian sanctions, particularly the US sanctions on Iran.
Very pertinent. So the United States avoid commenting on revival of the Pak-Iran gas pipeline. I mean, this is a news for you, so you can break that. So US has not seen the report on the Pak-Iran gas pipeline yet. I will respond on the matter later. State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller says this. This is not my statement.
Yeah, definitely.
So
he said yesterday. He said yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday. So this is very much important. So that's why I'm repeating it again. So you has not seen the report on Pakistan-Iran gas pipeline yet. I'll respond on the matter later. So this is this have two lines, and this have two shaped coins. So Pakistan views the IPI pipeline as more an economic issue, while the US sees it is a political concern. So rather, it is not a political concern. We have to have our own decision. We have to take our own decision. And this time around, we have to take this decision at any cost, because this is the Pakistan internal problem. So Pakistan should keep in mind that the sanctions on Iran are not linked with the Kerry-Lugar bill or the IPP pipeline per se. So the sanction will be imposed at the discretion of the US. So Pakistan should also keep in mind that the Turkey, an important NATO ally of the US, already has a functioning pipeline with the Iran, and no sanction have been applied on the country as yet. So this is your answer to the question. So this is very much important to have this project to be done. So this is important thing is that how much our government take a stand. We need a statement to talk on this matter. This is just we are nuclear power, and then when we then we said we will eat grass, but we will not compromise on the issue of the nuclear. So what is about this just 80-kilometer? We will eat grass, but we will not compromise on the pipeline issue. We need at any cost, as far as on the lighter note, our consumption is different and the Western consumption is different. You're talking about the consumer or the domestic consumption. Our domestic consumption is literally very much high because we have to have the bong, harissa, and nihari, siripai, so that need a higher gas. So wherever the West is just they eat half-cooked food, so that is different.
So you have the apprehension upon nihari or siripai or on the gas consumption particularly.
Yeah, gas
on the lighter note.
Of course, on the lighter note, because I don't, as being economist, we have to always on the hard hit. But the important thing is we have to segregate this issue. We have to take up the third power core project. We have to go for the third power core project. Out of sanctions, we have to do it. And of course, we have to move on the Dayamit Bhasha Dam, Dasu Dam, and we have to put it on to the regional grid and to the national grid. And that will reduce down the cost of the hydroelectric power. So
obviously, Dr. Hasnain, very well elaborated. Dr. Usman, when we are talking about the Iranian cooperation with Pakistan, Iran has just extended the deadline, which was supposed to end in March, and that is now extended to 180 days till September 2024. Though it's a very short time to construct the 80-kilometer gas pipeline, but anyway, it was at least extended. And how do you see that after the 16th January episode, when Iranian missile hit two of the territories in Balochistan, Pakistan? So after that, we have seen that now the bilateral cooperation at its best, and it is robust now. And Iran has given this much of the cooperation with Pakistan and extended a lot more. So how do you see it bilaterally?
It's very interesting to see it in light of some ruptures that happened recently, because the global geopolitical temperature is heating up, and Iran is privy and party to a lot of those tensions. Therefore, it has been trying to test the waters in its own region and see where it can get away with what it can. Now, you shouldn't try that with Pakistan. Many countries have learned that the hard way. And now Iran also, thanks to the quick and decisive action by the Pakistan Air Force, which has always served its nation with excellence.
Don't ever consider us weaker, because as apparently we are looking, but we are not actually.
Yes, and the truth is that Pakistan and Iran are brothers, and sometimes
no doubt about it.
Brothers do fight. Now, in a brotherly fashion, we should continue with the longer scheme of mutual prosperity.
But definitely the brothers love each other a lot, and we have lots of affections with Iran as well. So, Dr. Hasnain, how do you see the bilateral cooperation between Pakistan and Iran amid this Iran-Pakistan gas pipeline project, which is now going to start the first phase of its construction?
If it would be under the SIFC, I am very much hopeful. It is 180 days. Of course, it is under the if it is under the military monitoring, so it will execute as further as possible on time and under the timeline. So that is very much important. Otherwise, of course, there would be no sanctions. There would be no intervention if the military move it on to the right way. So that is very much important, and we have to do it at any cost because it is needed. And also we are working on the electricity, and of course this is very much important. As I told you earlier, that the Sadr Zardari is, the president, the ex-president, and it is going to be the president again. Of course, he has certain interest in that way, so he has the equipment to have this sort of ability, because he was very much into the Gawadar, he was very much into the CPAC. Of course, the special economic zone need that special things. And after this, Iran pipeline gas, and we have to move on to the other Turkmenistan, Tajikistan, and Afghanistan, and of course to this belt. And TAPI project must have to reinsure, of course, without any of the penalization. I would see the brighter first if the first phase goes.
So, Dr.
Hasnain,
very quickly, very briefly, if you just tell us about the no doubt that this is a very important project when it comes to Iran-Pakistan gas pipeline, and you have rightly said that TAPI and all other projects are also the backbone for Pakistan's economy. But how do you rate the political will to move on such important projects, particularly Iran-Pakistan gas pipeline and other projects?
The military will is there. So who has the idea? Of course, that's why I'm naming the ex-president Zardari must have to take the lead, and they must have to take this initiative, because the CPAC is the backbone of this whole of the region, and we have to make it this possible, because energy on one hand is use of the industrial agriculture purpose, and also the fastest growing primary energy source globally, and of course the 70% between 2002 to 2025 with the most vigorous growth and demand expectation among the emerging economies. So if we have to get the growth, come out of the current account deficit. We don't need to have the current account surplus. This is IMF says we need a current account surplus. This is a technical point I'm giving you. The current account deficit goes when we are onto the growth. So what we need is manufacturing, what we need is industry, what we need is a cottage industry, what we need is a macroeconomic industrial
Dr. Hasnain, you are absolutely right. You are absolutely right, and well elaborated. Dr. Usman, when we are talking about such an important projects like Iran-Pakistan gas pipeline, TAPI, and all other projects which are going to be a win-win situation for Pakistan. Ultimately, we have to focus upon economy, our energy needs, along with that the security and all that. So how do you see that, how much political will is important, how much peace in the country and sustainable growth emphasis is important, how much we have to put all focuses on economy is important, and how much it is important that we have to move along as a nation to attain these objectives?
You've put it very well, that economy is the priority. And economy does not mean just growth rates, it also means the inclusivity, so all the people gain from
absolutely
it.
Right.
It also means sustainability, so you can burn through all your reserves in 1 year and then struggle the next. No, we want to have it paced out over generations. So sustainability and inclusivity with economic focus, I think, is the most important. Many countries are struggling with the security logic and economy logic competing, the United States, for example, but we need to have them of one mind, coordinated and synergized, because the prosperity, inclusivity and sustainability, all principles must be addressed simultaneously, and major projects like the Iran-Pakistan pipeline or TAPI are a key factor in that.
Definitely. Dr. Usman, thank you very much for your presence in the studios. Thank you very much for your views. Thank you very much, Dr. Hasnain Javed, for being with us online. Thank you very much for your very candid and very elaborative views. Viewers, as you have listened to our panelists, they are focusing, they are stressing upon that political cohesion is a must to grow. Political will is very important. We have to, as a nation, we have to unite ourselves as a single platform to attain economic objectives, particularly the energy production and energy needs in the country. As our panelists suggested, it is important that pertaining to the rising energy and particularly the gas demands in the country, we have to enhance our, whether it's offshore or onshore, the production to at least 5,000 billion cubic meters. It is important that we have to enhance projects like Iran-Pakistan gas pipeline and Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, India gas pipeline. That is very important. Pakistan's local gas production, on the other hand, are decreasing, and on the vice versa, Pakistan is importing a lot from abroad, and in such a circumstances, Pakistan needs reliable, sustainable, and particularly slightly cheaper natural gas for its economy, for agriculture, and for the consumption of our local domestic consumer. So what would be more than beneficial than the Iranian gas? So this is all from today's Foresight. It's time to sign off. Allah Hafiz.